Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm down at Hendrick Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Concord. We're gonna take a look at their 2022 KIA K5 LX. So huge shout out to them for providing this vehicle for me today. Make sure you guys check out their website. They have a ton of awesome brand new and pre-owned inventory. That link is down below. The K5 that you see behind me is finished off in passion red with a list price just over $29,000. And to start off today's review, we're going to take a look at what powers this K5. Underneath the hood is the 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. It pumps out 180 horsepower around 5,500 RPM and 190 pound-feet of torque as low as 1,500 RPM. That power is sent to the front wheels. This weighs in right around 3,100 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 7.8 seconds, up to its top speed of 130 miles an hour. And it has a fuel capacity of 14.8 gallons. You'll expect to see around 29 miles per gallon in the city and 38 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 112.2 inches. Its overall length is 193.1. It has a width of 73.2, a height of 56.9, and its ground clearance measures in at 5.3 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this K5, it has a really distinctive front end. The grille is very narrow and it expands from one side of the vehicle all the way to the other, with the headlight housings nicely incorporated in the upper section. So as you can tell, the grille wraps around the lower section. There's a quad beam design for the headlights and the high beams, which are LED, along with this having an LED turn signal and DRL that actually makes its way around to the front quarter panel. So it's a really distinctive line and it looks really nice too, being on both sides of the hood. There's even more cutouts in the lower section of the bumper to provide even more cooling to that turbo. There's some gloss black accents, really nice lines on both sides of that grille, and some trim pieces with some chrome on them on the far corners. So it gives it a really nice stylish and sporty front end with really clean lines that come down the hood. The Kia badge is also front and center, finished off in brushed aluminum. I really like the redesign for the Kia badge. It's on a lot of their newer models. And on the side of this model, it has 16-inch wheels with a 5-spoke design. Really nice finish that complements this passion red very nicely. This does have body colored mirror caps with the base of them being finished off in black. There's a little bit of black in the lower section of the door. Really nice lines in that lower side skirt. There's black in the lower section of the window trim. And then the chrome trim piece on the upper section works its way wrapping around the trunk all the way to the other side. Really cool to see that wraparound design. This even has the shark fin antenna, just a really nice sedan style to it. And then making our way to the rear end, same Kia badge right in the middle. This has LED taillights with that bar running right through the middle just to connect them and give it a great look. The backup camera is nicely placed up underneath along with the trunk release. And then this has even more trim in the lower section. So there's a look at the exterior for this Kia K5. As we move on to the cargo space now, you can use the button on the key fob. So if I hold on this, it will automatically open up, or you can use that button that I previously showed. And with this open, there's a really nice flat surface. There's cutouts on the driver and passenger side where you can place an item sideways if you need to. So definitely a lot of room. There's even more storage up underneath the floor where the spare tire is held along with all the toolkits for that. And you could use this for extra interior storage space if you needed to as well. Now there's no grab handle up on the trunk, but it's very lightweight, so it is easy to close. And now with that wrapped up, let's move on to the back seats. And when I open up the door panel has a really nice design. There is leather on the armrest along with the matte black trim surrounding the window control. More of that gray trim in the upper section, as well as having some trim on the release handle. This has a 6-speaker audio sound system, and there's a little bit of storage space down in the lower section of the door. And for this model, it gets a set of cloth seats, which have a two-tone design. The seat belts are even a different color than the seat, just to match it very nicely. And I'm 5'10", it's time to hop in. The door sill is very low. You do have to step over and down. And then with the front seat set at my height, I have plenty of room for my feet and my legs. For a smaller vehicle like this, it's actually pretty spacious. I have 2 or 3 inches above my head, so 3 people could fit back here comfortably. Now there's no armrest or anything right in the middle, but you do get a good amount of visibility for your backseat passengers. That back pillar is broken up by having that extra piece of glass, which is great to see. There's a small hump right in the middle, but it's not too large where your middle seat passenger could have a foot on both sides. And then as we move on to the front seats now, the door panels finish off just like the rear, obviously. We have the addition of all of the window controls, the side mirror adjustments, more of that trim, even a brushed trim piece just underneath it, and a lot more storage space in the lower section of the door. Now these front seats are manual adjusting, so there's the incline and recline as well as the height adjustment, and then a bar in the front to slide them forwards and backwards. Same design as the rear seats, and it's just as easy to hop into the front seats. It is a low car, and the door actually opens very wide, so it gives you a lot of room to enter and exit. We have a really nice black steering wheel, some brushed aluminum accents run throughout it. On this left side is Bluetooth and voice commands along with volume and tuning. On the right side, we have the cruise as well as some other controls to go through that center gauge cluster. But let's fire this Kia up. With my foot on the brake, we do have a key that flips out. The ignition is over on the right side, and we can bring this to life. And on this gauge cluster, on the left side is the tach and the engine temperature. On the right side is the miles per hour and the fuel gauge. And then right in the middle, you can go through a lot of information using these two dials over on the right side. Where currently it's showing miles per hour, I can scroll down to pull up the TPMS. Then if I push on the pages button, it will go over to the driving modes. So you can go between normal, sport, custom, and a smart setting by using a dial in the lower center, which I'll show here later. Pushing on the pages button again, we can go over to the driving assistance and look at the attention level as well. If you've been driving this vehicle for a long period of time, it will tell you when it's time to pull over and take a break. Really cool technology feature to see. There's also multiple different settings to go through just to set everything up the way that you'd like to. There's also what gear you're in, along with your range, odometer, and the outside temperature. And then over on this left side, there is a trunk release along with traction control. We have the lane keeping assist and a dimmer switch for the gauges. That trim on the door panel makes its way underneath one air vent. There's some gloss black surrounding the gauge cluster, leading its way to the 8-inch screen in the middle that has a lot of information to go through. Currently, it's on the home screen where you can see there is audio as well as your phone when that is hooked up and paired. On this left side are shortcuts to radio and media. There's even a favorites button that you can connect to your phone so that way you can quickly get to items. Power and volume for the radios on the left side. Over on the right side is tuning as well as setup, seek, and track. And then by going to all menus here, there's more icons to go through like phone, radio, going to the setup, and then just by clicking on the home button, we are back to here, where a shortcut to phone and media is in the lower section as well as setup again. So not a whole lot of information, but it gives you everything that you need. There's more of that trim in the dash as well as some brush trim surrounding two air vents. And just underneath that is all of the climate controls. Fan speed is right in the middle. This does have dual zones, so passenger and driver can adjust those. Defrosters are on one side. There's some other recircs and where you like the air to go. And then at the very bottom is a 12 volt along with two USBs and a good amount of storage for your phone or other smaller items. There's two cup holders on the right side, and then with the shifter, we have the release on the left side. If I put the vehicle into reverse, the backup camera will appear with the guidelines, and then if I push on this, there's even a top-down view. So it just gives you a little bit more visibility if you need it. And then back into drive, you can shift using the shifter if you need to. Behind that, we have the engine start stop feature, as well as the auto hold and the electronic parking brake. There's the drive mode toggle, which I already showed earlier. A little bit of storage space in front of the center armrest. And when I open this up, there's a lot more space for any items you need to place there. The glove box also has a good amount of room. And we'll take one last look at this interior. And then up in the headliner, there are the dome lights. As we get behind the wheel of this 2022 Kia K5 now, the LX is more on the base trim level for the K5. I have been able to drive a few of these models, including the GT line, some of the other higher trim levels as well, that have some more amenities like leather on the steering wheel, a little bit more functions. I think they have a larger screen in the middle as well. So it's great to see that you have a pretty big range for the Kia K5, just depending on your budget, what you're looking for. This is under $30,000, and I think it's a really nice family sedan. You get quite a lot for your money, and as we get out into traffic, visibility is really good, and for this smaller engine, I feel very confident in merging and getting out into traffic, getting up to speed just like we did. Nothing crazy. I wasn't even half throttle. So for the smaller engine, pretty impressive to see. And as far as just driving this, it's a nice, what I'll call an economy vehicle. Very small, a small fuel tank, a lot of MPG, so you don't have to fill this up often. But it feels pretty composed just for the normal speeds that I'm going today. You can hear a little bit of wind noise here and there, So it's not fully insulated, but it's nice. It's a nice, comfortable ride. It's what you would expect. Let's pop it over to the manual setting here and see how this shifter does. We're gonna drop it into a second gear. A little bit of a delay, but you would expect that in a vehicle like this. But if you do need to shift or for whatever reason, need a downshift, maybe pass someone on the highway, something like that, I think it's great that you have the option to do that. May not be used a whole lot, but if you'd like to use it, it's clearly laid out plus and minus for upshifting and downshifting. Aside from that, I think the only drawback that I do see with this model is the fact that the back seats do not fold down. I'm not sure if the higher trim levels do. I don't think they would. But that is a little bit of a downfall in the fact that you can't put in some larger items if you were able to fold the back seats down. So if you're buying this, maybe you're not looking for moving larger items, whatever it may be. You just want a small practical sedan that still offers a lot of cargo space behind the back seats, although it would be nice for the size to see them fold down just to give you a little bit extra interior storage. Aside from that, it is really nice. Visibility is also easy to see all around. I can look over that left shoulder, right shoulder. As I mentioned earlier, that pillar's not too bulky. We do have a glass on both sides. Side mirrors are going to help with that as well. And switching over to the POV angle now, we'll take another look at visibility from this angle. I can look over my left shoulder, over my right shoulder, like I mentioned. You can see around that pillar. So it's really not bulky from this perspective. And we'll give it a little bit of gas here. It is a peppy little engine. We have been in normal mode, so why don't I pop it over into sport mode. We'll do another slight acceleration. Basically, that's just going to give you a little bit more throttle response, and I can feel it. It's nice to see that if you need a little bit more pep out of this engine, you have a few different engine or drive modes that you can choose from, along with normal, custom. I believe that the smart mode kind of just intuitively feels how you're driving, how much throttle input, how much braking you're doing, and kind of adapts to basically how you're driving and the roads that you're on. But aside from that, really nice interior. I love how comfortable this is driving too. For more of that economy type vehicle, it doesn't feel like it's not solid. Like, it feels like it's a solid car. Kia makes some really great models, and they've really stepped up their game in the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years, maybe even the last 10 years. They have come a long way, and this doesn't feel, in a sense, like a tin can. It feels very solid for what it is, minus a little bit of road noise here and there. But definitely a cool option. If you're looking for a brand new vehicle under $30,000, you want something that's reliable, has a great warranty, has plenty of interior storage, something that you can daily drive and get some good gas mileage out of, K5 is a great option. And this is a cool model to check out. We do have the turnkey for a base model. It doesn't have the push button or the keyless entry, but you do have the turnkey for this model. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this walk-around review and test drive, getting behind the wheel of this 2022 Kia K5 LX. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram of Concord for providing this vehicle for me today. Check out their website. All that info is down in the description. And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.